Hello, everybody. If it's Wednesday, it's Warhammer, and that must mean it's time for another episode of Warhammer Weekly. Joining me, he's back this week. It's Tom. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Hello, friends.
We got his mic working. He only had to restart at 60 seconds before the show began, which is
But
why we're
I'm
like
here, and
a
I'm
few minutes late. But that's
basically on
fine.
time.
Yes, for Tom, Brandon and I both have a similar thing where like on time means early, but like, or at least on time at worst. And for Tom, 5 minutes late is on time. So you can see the difference of opinion.
I'm on time.
You're on Tom time. Whenever Tom comes to visit, Kathy will ask, "When is Tom coming?" And I'll say like, "Well, he said 3 o'clock, so that means he'll either be here at 2:30 or 4 o'clock. Could be either one." And that's Tom's idea of on time. Brendan is also back, the Lord of Death. How you doing, Brendan? Good to see you again, buddy.
Hello. Yeah, I'm good. Happy to be here.
It's good to have you on. Brendan is a oft referenced specter over this show, even if he's not directly on, just because often, not always, but often when I'm talking about games that I've played, it's usually with Brendan. Brendan and I have taken to like, we get together on a Saturday, we'll do 2 or 3 games. This is these little like mini RTTs. So it's been a lot of, we go through them quickly. So he also kicks my butt
talks
a
about
lot.
getting spanked.
A lot. Yeah. So I've been very transparent about that. That Brendan, like, I have literally had this conversation with Brendan of like, you are a better Warhammer player than me, just like flat out. Like I know that, so it's good. That's that's how you push yourself to get better, right? So that's what
Yeah,
it is.
you make up for it when we play Old World or Magic, though. It all comes right back to me.
Sure. I think I made the joke once. I was like, I wish I could see the lines in Warhammer as clearly as I see the lines in Magic, right? But nonetheless, who knows? At any rate, tonight we're going to be talking about some hot lists, hot lists. We're going to do a big list show. We're going to talk about a bunch of different lists with a bunch of different armies. I gave everybody the task of building lists, but I didn't like give any directions. I was just like, go build lists and send them to me. And amazingly, no one built the same lists. Literally no one. We're all different armies over multiple lists. So, and I even got we've even got a fun friend of the show submission as well that we got in here. So we are packed to the brim with lists tonight. But of course, first we begin with Vince grabbing his booklet where he writes down the timestamps, and then we say it's time for the news, and see if Tom looked at the news yet, which he didn't, but he can say the thing he always says. Say it, Tom.
What are you talking about? We have rumor engines first.
There you go. He said the thing. Yes, rumor engine. Great. I'm gonna say it's another 40K thing because that's a manufactured whistle. So
yeah.
Because there are no more AoS rumor engines, we're out of things. So that's it.
I don't know that we're ever gonna get AoS models again.
They literally just go to the 40K studio now to take pictures. Well, we'll get new models, clearly, as we're going to talk about in just a moment.
Well, I was gonna say, the irony being that all of the actual news is new models, but
yeah,
not from this stuff. So,
all right. So whatever, who cares? It's a weird bag that has very, very like, yeah, boy, we were like, we got this little bag. I hope to God this is like super zoomed in. Otherwise, I feel very bad for the painter who clearly did not spend a lot of time on this little bag, as I wouldn't either, and then had to have a picture taken of it, which sucks for them. Like, hey, you know that thing that you never pay any attention to because you're focusing on like the armor and the skin and the rest of the model that's important, and you just kind of like phone it in at the end? We're going to take a picture of that and only that. Oh, thanks. All right, we got to talk about these guys.
Oh God!
Next item. Here they are.
Models I would prefer not to talk about. Corn tentacle mouth models.
They're so bad.
These are so
awful. These are terrible.
What is happening here? What is this?
I mean, I guess it's supposed to be skulls, but it's not. It's like the fish mouth guy from Futurama. That's what this is.
I saw somebody posted that, and I remember this meme. There's like it's one of these like online web comics, and it's the guy who goes to hell, and the devil's like, "Haha, welcome to hell. There's pizza," and he goes to eat the pizza, and the devil's like, "But it's so hot, it'll just burn your entire mouth right off." And the dude just keeps eating the pizza, and it just melts his whole face down, so it's all drippy. And he's like, and the devil's like, "Please stop. You're going too far. This is insane." And that's these guys. They look like they ate the too hot pizza and their faces melted. It looks so silly. I just like, aside from the insane faces, a lot of their muscles are just weird too. Like, it's not just
the sculpts
that.
feel impartial.
It's just I really don't like these guys at all. Like the main guy, I assume, or whatever, with his little scaled, you know, whatever this thing is between his legs, whatever you want to call it.
Loincloth.
Sure, why not?
And I think it's a woman. I don't think it's a man.
Is it supposed to be a woman?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
There's boobs.
I guess you're right.
There's a strap that goes between.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Well, this individual, bad, very bad. All of these, very bad.
My favorite, and by favorite I mean the one I hate the most, is the Reaver holding the skull head.
The Reaver
the one on the left, the leftmost one.
You mean this guy over here?
Let me
the one on the right. They're right. Okay,
the one on the far right. Like you don't have a good zoom in, but like, man, if you could go to the community page and go to that picture of just that dude, it's so bad. Like the face is so bad because it actually cuts up the jaw.
Yeah.
Like a skull, like the negative space that's in like a skull itself. And it just doesn't work because like that's not how faces work.
No, none of this works. Hey, you're right. It is a lady. Okay. The only thing that's good here is the dog.
Sure. I mean, it's such a good boy. No, but like a lot of these, what I would say is that like,
what happened to this guy's pecs? Did he suffer some kind of like skin graft accident? What happened here?
Yes, all of them did. Yeah, I mean the part of the problem is like I can pretend, right, that they have like flayed mouths or like tattooed skull faces or whatever, right? Like I can buy all of that. But the actual one that I was talking about, like it cuts up and like it doesn't make any sense. There's no logical sense. Like,
I understand.
Even if you scarred, like you ritually scarred, your face wouldn't do that.
There's no, yes, I get it, because there's muscles here too, and all sorts of tendons and things. Like what has been removed from this guy's
like
head?
Jaws don't work like that.
Right. Well, there is a space right here under your, like, if you look at a jaw, there is an open space right here, which is what they're trying to point toward. But whatever. Doesn't matter. Yeah. It's stupid. They're bad. We've talked about them too much already. What is this? I mean, just announce that you're going to kill Underworlds if you're going to put out things like this. What are you doing with your life? Okay. I'm sorry to whoever the sculptor was for this. It's a miss. It's a miss, guys. Next item.
IDK's up for pre-order.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. So the IDK show will be next week. I've already got the guest booked in. So we're going to have a good time talking about fish people. We got the little spoiler today about the new tides. It's not the same thing anymore, which is good. It's fine. Like it's time. It's time for a change. So it's cool. I mean, I don't have much more to say about it except review coming next week, and yay. Good. Start rolling these books out. We can get this going faster. Let's go.
Yep.
There's one more news item, Tom.
I know. The Squidgy Death Master.
Yes.
He's here.
Boom. The little Death Master guy, the little plushy thing. Look, I'm not normally one to talk about these little silly merchandising things, okay?
Are you buying a plushie?
Well, I'm not going to buy it, but I'll probably ask for it as a gift or something for Christmas or whatever. Like, it feels like a fun thing to get as a Christmas gift. It's cute. So, yes, there you go. The Death Master plushie. It's cute. And we'll tie into our lists later today.
it won't survive 10 minutes in your house. You know that, right?
Oh no, the dogs would destroy this thing. Absolutely destroy this thing.
Murder. Just
Yes.
straight murder.
Yes. It will, in fact, the dogs will hit this thing on far better than a 5. They will be successful. Yes. Oh yeah, Hades, I didn't, yeah, they're doing that, like, the busts that they're selling for AoS. Yeah, I didn't see the full article on that. I need to go look at it. So that's fine. I'll go look at it, Hades. But yes, I'm interested tentatively is my answer. Yeah, there's like, they announced like some busts for AoS. So I'll probably talk about it next week once I have had a chance to take it in or whatever. Yeah. Yep. I mean, I saw the little helmets from Weta Workshop. Is that what you're talking about, Hades? That stuff? Because like the helmets were cool. I saw some people ordered them. They're fine. It's like fine. I looked at them. I was like, okay, it's neat. But all right. Any other news stuff?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Great. Well, with that, yeah, quick news. It's okay because we got so many hot lists to talk about today. Why don't we go to some pick of the week? Brendan, what would you like to? Oh, go ahead.
Did you covered the KO last week, didn't you?
We did.
Okay.
We did. We talked about it. We talked about dumb helmet head. Dumb sea diver helmet face. You said at any rate, Brendan, pick of the week. What would you like to share with everybody?
Go listen to my podcast, Cubic Shenanigans. It is a war game, recently changed to wargaming podcast instead of just Warhammer podcast, because my co-host Dan has started getting into non-Warhammer games and wants to talk about that. Which
boy,
he does all the hard work, so I suppose that's that's only fair.
That is fair. So what has he gotten into? That's the question.
So he's into Conquest, Saga, Blackout. They play the Mech Warrior game. I don't know. I don't remember what it's called. I want to say Armored Core, but that's definitely not it. It's the BattleTech. There it is.
Oh, okay. BattleTech. Yes. Got it.
So he's just into all other sorts of stuff. And
boy,
of course,
yeah, he's going wide. He's going wide here.
Yeah.
Good for him.
He has a very strict 2-army rule in his house, which apparently he's found the loophole of 2 armies per game system. So
all right, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, good for him. Good for him.
Yeah. So actually, our next episode is going to be kind of a similar topic to what we have tonight, which is Dan and I are picking out an army book each and kind of pulling apart how it plays in the new handbook, and we'll have some lists and what we're doing. So rather than a list, we're going to be looking at a book and kind of talking about concepts and strategies within it.
Very nice. Very nice. Love it. Okay. So for my pick of the week, I've got a couple of them. So first off, a little shout out to Squidmar, who had a recent video. He was nice enough to use me as a little clip in it, but that's not why I'm recommending it. It's all about sort of motivation and getting things done and getting things done right. And it was a really good video, and I liked his points, and I agree with that stuff. I always love motivational videos. I think it's really important to remember that, like, we're all always sometimes struggling on our journeys through this hobby. So check that out. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention 2 other things. Number 1, that would be the newest episode of Fireball the Gazebo is out now. So, go check that out. That's Ninja and I's RPG podcast, linked down below. The newest episode came out yesterday, talking all about why death systems classically suck and fail and how to make them better. So in other words, death and dying in RPGs. And of course, also Snarlcast, which is my podcast with Uncle Adam, talking about indie war games and indie RPGs. The newest episode of that is also out. My goodness. Came out on Monday, and we talk about why Kickstarter is awful and why you might use it anyways. So there you go. Check out those 2 episodes. Everything's linked down below. Give it a sub. Check it out. Get more of the Vince cinematic universe in your life. All right, Tom, what about you?
Well, he clearly doesn't need more spruiking, but I had already selected it before you went on the rant. So, on his other channel, Ninjon a couple weeks ago did a video on why airbrushes are a scam. And
Yes, I had a big argument about him because at the time he recorded this was the same time I did the episode of Tup, and so there's this like 30-minute argument about why he's out of his mind on the most recent Trapped Under Plastic. Yeah.
here's the deal. I agree with you, John. And so if you all want to watch John and I's informed opinions
Sure.
for why airbrushes are okay and they do some things well, but they don't do everything, then go check it out.
Yes, the all of the straw men in the audience will be very disappointed that their argument has been defeated. As I said to him on the podcast.
If you want to go see Golden Demon winner John's opinion on why airbrushes.
Okay. So at any rate, yeah, I mean it's a very good video, even if John is insane. But I appreciate his where he lands, even if he gets there in the most crazy way possible.
You mean the most clickbaity way possible?
Look, man, it's a job. You got to get views. Okay, he gets a lot more views than I do, and that's because he knows how to make a lot of good. He knows how to make a good video, and good for him. All right. Very good. Let's talk about a little hobby time, gentlemen. So Brendan, what have you been working on? What's been on your table? Other than laughing Jasper Flint.
Yes, other than my good friend. I've been working through the Vince method of one for me, one for the army, and so I'm on the one for me. I'm painting a Harbinger of Decay. So I've been working on that on and off and been pretty happy with that. My last one for me was a Kraken Eater Mega Gargant, which took me like a month. So doing that and then just kind of building models when I don't feel like doing anything. I happen to have been building some models the other day, and I posted in our little Discord, and someone went, Are these going to be good in the new book? And I'm like, what? It's like, I don't even think that book's been announced.
Like, yeah, it's like I just wanted to build these things, man.
Yeah. So should I buy a bunch of these? I'm like, buy how many you want. I don't know. I just wanted to build them. They were on my shelf. They're right over there. Like, they need to be built. So yeah. Painting a Harbinger of Decay and building models that people think are going to be really good for no reason.
I mean, I will say, were they bad before? Because probably 70-30, they'll be good now. So that's an easy bet.
I'm a firm believer in the Tom Lyons method of buy low, hope that they go high, and they never deliver, and so you just have hundreds of the same model.
Then you just wait till the next go round. Let's
just go put them in the shelf. Yeah. Maybe mine just roll in and out.
That's right. Well, actually, Tom, you go next. What's your hobby time? What have you been doing?
My hobby time's been relatively light. This last week I was traveling out of town, and so obviously I didn't have my hobby stuff with me. I'm still kind of on mission. Like, it's been a twofold thing of building all the things. Like, hundreds of models are sitting on my like table and my painting desk, ready to be primed. I had
so your wife has painted more than you, is what I'm hearing here, because she's killing it with that IDK. She's ready for the new book release.
She's almost done with her spearhead, like almost fully done with the spearhead. Mm-hmm. She's just killing it. But I wanted to use the new Mr. Hobby, like I had finally pulled the trigger on like the Mr. Hobby primer stuff. Yeah. And because I went to the store and I went to get some and they didn't have any. And he's like, oh, I haven't been able to get any. And so I was like, I'll just go online. So I went online. I was like, here's some on eBay. And I just picked it up. And actually think about the fact that I was like, oh, I'll just wait to prime all this until it arrives. But then I started looking, I'm like, why is it not here? Because it's shipping from somewhere in Europe. Because
Yeah,
everything
sure.
in North America is sold out. Like
Yeah,
all of
well,
them are gone. They
yeah.
don't exist in North America anymore. And so I'm waiting for these vials to travel halfway around the world so that
Mhm.
I can try out new primer.
Well,
But
you're gonna love it. It's
I'm
amazing
just
primer.
building.
Yeah, yeah.
Say what?
That's fine. It's amazing primer. You're gonna love it.
I'm
That
looking
being
forward to
said,
it.
hide the dog, hide your wife, hide your kids, because you know if that stuff is like you got to spray and then like just seal off that room forever. You just close up the door and never go back in that room. That's what happens
Well, I
there.
actually have a full window immediately behind my box.
No, it's good.
And so it like when I need to, when I have to turn it on, I can do the full vent like out the window
Yes,
with
you'll
the
also
hood
want a real
blowing.
mask with a real like with
I
organically
yeah, and I have the
certified.
full I have the
Yes,
full
you need a
mask now, not
respirator
the
with
vent.
organically
Yep,
certified filters on it.
yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep. I have all that.
Okay.
So
Good.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the full Monty.
The full
So,
experience. All right, great. Very good.
yep.
It's an absolute pleasure to prime with, but it is toxic as all get out. That's the only problem with it. For my hobby time, I'm still working on this big diorama. There's the girl. She's there still on the base, like she haven't taken her off yet. Because I've been spending the last week on the guy, and he's done. So there's him, how he came out, or at least he's done ish. Once I put the two of them together, there'll be little cleanup steps and stuff. But he's more or less in a good place. So I'm happy with how he has come along. So as we can see, we've got his little cuts where he's been Frankenstein together and stuff. We got some nice little subtle tones in there. The camera doesn't super duper catch, but you can see them more in reality. So yeah, this guy has been like super fun to paint. It was absolute pleasure to work with this thing. This is the Snake Heart from Brahms. So they're just really cool. It's just really cool minis, and I'm just having a great old time. I also, for a fun project in between there, I just kind of am pseudo in the middle, but he's like almost done. Just a little quick thing. I'm working on this little Trench Crusade guy over here to get my little Trench Crusade warband together. This guy's from the Heretic Legions. I don't actually know if I'm going to play Heretic Legions in the end. I think I might not, but I'll probably still paint some more of them just because I think they are fun to paint. So,
Are you like building and painting Trench?
Yeah, I built a couple. Like I built the Werewolf, and now I'm putting this guy together. I've got a couple of models, so I'm just gonna get together like a little basic thing. But I don't actually know which one I want to do in the end. I'm not sure I want to do Heretic Legion, so we'll see. TBD. But I like painting little guys, and I had them. The minis that I got were all Heretic Legion, so I was like, it's fine. Just paint those. It's fun enough. I treat them all just like fast, fun projects and stuff like that, right? So, okay. Very good. And I'm excited for this holiday weekend. So, like, obviously, we've got July 4th weekend, which I plan to get some serious hobby in. And then the weekend after this, like, no offense, I mean nothing bad by this, but my wife is traveling. She's gone for like 4 days or something. So that's just like we're in the bag there. We're living in the office. That is pure hobby time and work time. All of that. That's just like I get to just work all the time. Cygnus, you're probably you're probably right. By the way, I probably will land on Iron Sultanate. Yes, I think you're probably right there, but we'll see. So hopefully I can make a lot of headway on this big project because I got to get it done for Gen Con. Okay. With that, gentlemen, are you ready to transition to talking about list building in the new 2025 GHB? Womp 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 wow. Wow 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 wow. New GHB lists. That stuff. That's what we're doing. I'll assume you're ready. The excitement. Feel it, everybody. Okay. Just some dude. Thank you very much for the super chat. My local game store has a pre-owned black primed Archeon for 150. Need to save my money for adult responsible things, but it's calling to me like the Green Goblin mask. That's understandable, just some dude. I have 2 Archeons. I love them. They're great. I never play them, but I like them, and they sit in my cabinets and stare at me. But I have played them a lot in the past. So, you know, I mean, I say figure out a way to make it happen. That's what I say, you know, in the long run. Maybe not right now. Don't be financially or fiscally irresponsible, but, you know, it's a cool model. It's worth owning. Unless Archeon is already glued to the guy. If it's already glued to the guy, skip. You got to be able. Archeon has to come off. If he's on Dorgar, skip it. Do not pay that money. That is not worth it. There you go. That's my advice to you. Absolutely. Derek Hildebrandt also with a super chat saying, struggling painting my new Skaven lately. It's hard to find colors for the skin fur that doesn't feel two-toned. That doesn't feel two-toned. Advice on making them harmonious. Okay, so you mean like you want them to be aligned. Like you don't want the skin and fur to feel very different. I like the skin and fur feeling very, very different. I think it creates good contrast. Like my skin color is really pale and my fur color is really dark. I use like very light greens and pinks for my skin and then really dark like black rounds going into grays for my fur. If you want it more aligned, your skin, you could use something like one of these two. So this is like Sunburst Ochre and Ruddy Terra, like one of those two for the skin. Just put a little like ivory or something in there to do your highlights. And then for the fur, just use like a more traditional warm brown. Like it'll stand aside, but it'll feel very harmonious. Like it'll all be in that kind of triad. So that'd be my advice for it. If you want them to be more similar. To be fair, John did like the same thing where his skin and fur was very similar. Okay. And thank you both for the super chats. Hey, while we're transitioning over to list building, hit like, hit subscribe, do things, click dings, all that kind of stuff. And thank you and for all the super chat people who really helps the show. All right. I got a summary slide here, gentlemen. Just talking about some stuff. Going to get both your feedback on it. Ready? Here we go. Here's my theory of the case. The new season puts pressure on you to have more units. MSU pressure is real. Okay. At the same time, you still do want to have like at least 2 strong hammers that can threaten enemies and kill stuff. Movement abilities, especially anything unusual that could allow an off-turn teleport, are very strong. High mobility shooting units are very powerful. Like if it can actually move quite a bit and still shoot, so it can get around the obscuring or pick things off that stick their head out, wherever they might stick their head out, is good. Stationary castle armies are very weak. That's nothing, basically. And the average area of the board you have to cover to get at objectives is much, much, much wider than previous seasons. Okay, that's my high level points. Brendan, what do you think about my high level summary points here? How do you feel about that?
I generally agree with it. I think, depending on the board state, you can still play kind of castle-y because you can do hold 1, hold 2 without too much. You just have to make sure that if you are playing something castle-y, that you do have the ability to reach out and touch somebody to be able to do that kind of removal. And there are a couple of tactics that I think you could do it, but if it's built around shooting, you're going to really struggle with the actual board itself, and you have to hope that you're playing, some guy playing giants or something like that to make
some idiot
to make the most of it. So I won't say castle armies are done. You have to have a very specific way of building it. Line of sight can't be important.
Right.
The sentiment that we're being pushed towards MSU, I think is real. I was listening to, I can't remember who, but they were actually saying that this is now a more hammer oriented game, and I really struggled to understand that. Their concept behind it was that because it's hold 1, hold 2 is the majority of your points, you can score the tactics, you can concentrate your force in more areas. I think against better players, a strategy like that is you're going to get fed a bunch of garbage units as I go score my tactics and score the board, and you can have
and deny
these 2
you
really
your tactics.
Yeah, right. And you can have these 2 really big, strong units going around doing stuff, but if you don't have the support pieces to kind of pick off their support pieces, then I think that's gonna really struggle. But overall, I generally agree with what you have here.
Yeah, the other thing I'll say is that if you rely on like kind of all hammers like we saw in the last thing, as you and I have both found out in some of our games on like literally opposite sides, this has happened to both of us. some of these new missions are just like death to hammers. If your hammer touches an objective, it's just like, well, okay, you lose, then you don't get to use that toy anymore this game, right? That's done now because you had the audacity to move your hammer onto an objective in like some of the missions. So that's a challenge. So we got that going for us. Tom, what about you? What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, I think it's a good summary. I would say that I think that the downward push is real. I also think that the push towards multiple units, like the first mover advantage that we used to see, and being higher drops, is actually a real betting.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing a lot more diversity in drop numbers as people are trying to push out towards to essentially win the reroll rather than win the drop.
Yeah, I as I said, I think the average drop number in tournament stats will increase by 0.7. That's where I come down.
Sure. I mean, I hear that.
I mean, it's significant.
Yeah.
In a season where it's basically been at 2 forever. It's actually a significant movement, but still. Gwell, thank you for the super chat. Do you think monsters, war machines, and elite units will be better utilized this season over the previous one? First answer, monsters, no, other than a few very careful exceptions, especially soggy monsters. Some of the new soggy monsters are straight bononkers, so you will see them plenty.
Other than 2 of my 3 lists.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're using like the soggy rules for you have a Fire Slayers list, and you're using like the soggy, whatever his name is, Rune Sun, Magmadroth guy, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, Dryka is a big monster who I think will show up a lot because I think Dryka is really good, right? And so on and so forth. I would say probably the same thing about war machines, especially like war machines. A lot of them are probably no, but there's a few, like the city's cannons got so cheap that you can just like have 3 of them for no reason.
One of my other lists.
Yeah, sure. Maybe the Ogre Iron Blaster would show up as a one-off, honestly, in a lot of lists because it does have a relatively high movement and does hit relatively hard. But like stuff like that. I mean, I guess the if you count the Screaming Bell, like the soggy Screaming Bell is technically a war machine, and I think you'll see that thing left, right, and center. So it's just more a question of like the few that have actually some really good rules will show up. As a class, no. Like as a class, there's nothing special that happened here that makes them any better. In fact, they usually end up being more expensive than I want. Elite units, it depends. Yes, I think you'll oftentimes see an elite unit or 2 as still being taken as hammers. So there you go. Yeah, like the Doom Diver is a good example of like something that would probably be present in many Goblin lists as a one-off, right? Like people will take it because if somebody pokes their head out from obscuring, it just presents real threat, right? And you can pick off their other things that are moving in between obscuring stuff. So
it's such a big base, though.
Yes, I know. It's on the night base, which just breaks your brain. So is the Black Coach, and you use that all the time, and it has to move into combat.
I know, man, but it's such a big base.
I saw a list, by the way. You'd like this, Brendan. I saw a list that was it was just Nagash and like 4 Black Coaches or whatever fits, whatever that appropriate number is that fits. Like the soggy Black Coaches.
That's a choice. That is a choice.
And I was like, what an amazing list. Just Fast and Furious Nagash edition. He's just rolling out with all of his rides. Bringing out, showing you his this is my garage. Look at all these hot cars I've got. Yeah. All right. So yeah, I mean, Gwell, I think it's really like a challenge. There's nothing fundamental that shifted to make all of those units better as a class, is my answer. Although individual items have certainly
and a number of the tactics militate against it.
That's right. That's right. I mean, there's a lot there are tactics that just literally say like, you don't count for this. You're not a thing that matters. So it was certainly on my mind as I was list building to like not include too many war machines, for example. Yes, Jay Leno Nagash. There you go. Exactly. Yes. Perfect. Okay. All right, gentlemen. Shall we get into the actual lists?
Sure.
All right. Let's do it. Here we go. Thank you to everybody, all the super chatting people. That's awesome. That's great. All right, let's talk actual listy lists. Here we go. We're starting with, these are, by the way, in just like an order that I threw around, so I don't know. But I mean, like, I put mine here first just because I wrote it and dropped it in first. But after this, it could easily repeat on some of us or not. I don't know. So there's no logic to this, just as an awareness, okay? They're not alphabetical. They're not anything. This is chaos. So here we go. We begin with a Skaven list. So this is kind of, Brendan, a version of something I ran against you once already. So you have some familiarity with playing against this.
I already hate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. So this is like the Tower of Power super healing list. Okay. So it's got the Grey Seer on Screaming Bell in the middle. It uses the Manifestations of Doom as well, so that on the appropriate turns you can be neg 1 to hit and neg 1 to be hit and neg 1 to be wounded. It's in Flesh Meld, so you can hand out the 5-up ward and so on and so forth to like your Rat Ogres. And it's got the Soggy Brood Terror, who's really good and can give your Rat Ogres +1 to hit, which is really important. It packs double Master Molders, Flesh Meddler or Devious Underling. We'll talk about that in a moment. As well as just some Night Runners and a Plague Claw to just do other stuff. I like the Plague Claw at 100 points. I can't stop putting this dumb thing in there. It's so cheap. It's so good. It's just a ridiculously long range threat that, again, like, somebody just pokes their head out and I can just like throw some trash at them. And it's at like 100 points. It's just nothing for potentially 12 damage. Like, I don't know. Like, that's just a crazy upside for basically nothing. And Night Runners are just wonderful for a host of reasons. It uses Intercept and Recover and Restless Energy. I need to like literally have I need to get out my battle tactics cards here so I can remember what the hell these all do, because I don't have the names all internalized yet. Intercept and Recover is obviously go get the gold, right? Mm-hmm. That's just pretty easy and obvious. And Restless Energy is the one where you control an objective that was controlled by your opponent. Then you control every objective in enemy territory, which is actually often easier than you think on a lot of maps. And then you complete this tactic at the end of your turn if you control every objective on the battlefield. So it's just kind of the win more one, right? This will push up, and it can push hard onto their objective. It loves like when they have one objective in their territory, because it can just push the whole army onto that pretty effectively and not really be too afraid of being moved off of it. Because unless you wipe everything, it all just heals back to full every turn. So, quick aside here, you'll note under that Master Molder that it has Flesh Meddler, which is the new thing that gives you an extra rend, or Devious Underling. Okay. So the two are alternates here, because instead of the Grey Seer and the two Doom Flayers, who are just playing random, Doom Flayers work really well with 3 claw steps ahead, because you can like move them way out and they just fly backwards, because they're like 2d6 + 3 inches on movement. You can take the Claw Lord on his Rat Horse. You can put him as the target for the Devious Underling, and then he becomes a weird suicide piece that until he's dead, everybody has a 6-up ward, which helps protect all your castle. So now you can be like neg 1 to hit, neg 1 to wound, and a 6-up ward in a giant bubble around the Master Molder. And then once the dumb Claw Lord on Rat Horse dies, because you've suicided him into something where they'll have no choice but to kill him, everybody gets +2 to charge, and then your castle explodes out. So you can kind of go either direction there. Like both are fine and interesting and have good possibilities. The points work out exactly the same on the Claw Lord on Rat Horse versus the 2 Doom Players. So, and he's a sub-lieutenant. So there you go. All right, gentlemen, that's a 3-drop list. That's my thoughts. That's kind of how I see the list working. What do you think about this one?
Well, I get to play against it a lot, and I hate it so much because it really is difficult to pull apart. If you don't kill the Brood Terror in one go, if you don't kill full Rat Ogres, if you don't do full removal on the core of the army, it's just never going anywhere.
Right.
And then you're going to be sitting on the -1 to hit, -1 to wound, 6-up ward turn. Maybe they've got a 5-up ward. Maybe they've got 2 extra attacks. Maybe they're +1 to hit. Like the crackback on it is super mean. And in order to kind of peel that apart, you have to go through the protective layer. And it's like, if you have the ability to go over the top on it, you feel great. But the number of things that I think are going to be prepared to go over the top is very limited.
Right.
Can the rat ogres put bodies back into a unit?
No, they
Rally.
heal themselves back to full, but they can rally. Yeah.
So basically, you're always like topping back off to whatever the last kill.
Right. And remember, each one of those 6 rat org units is going to be 3 coming back on the refund. Right.
Yeah.
Also, your Giselles, like, which seem a poor choice because they are a unit that doesn't want to move and shoot. They're to keep people's heads down, to deal with their enemy scout units. There are things that are trying to go out.
Yeah.
If someone has something carrying gold that sticks its head out, the Giselles can just pop that head right off. They can also obviously be very tricky because the Grey Seer can turn itself into a null hole. You can place a null hole, you can pop out of it, and just like all of a sudden, bang, bang, you shoot the thing and you're good to go. And you can also walk 3 Giselles back out of a null hole once you lose that unit, and they're still highly effective from the turn they come back, basically. So I like them. They're cheap, and their range is completely worth it to me. So yeah, there you go. And honestly, I mean, Brendan, it's so funny how many times the Night Runners have been just like a great unit in this list. Like when we do it, they're always doing something. They're always like, they're just valuable. It's crazy.
You
how valuable
always
they are.
120 points worth out of them. There's rarely a game where you go, man, didn't really amount to much.
Right.
It's always just like one very frustrating, painful thing after the other. And like you can't commit nothing to them. Like you have to do something about it. And if you do nothing, then it just ends up even worse for you.
Yeah. It's also funny because like little heroes, as certainly Brendan has realized, have to be very careful around Night Runners because they'll like shoot and throw like 20 ridiculous throwing stars at people with auto crit, auto wound, and then charge in, and they have crit mortal on their little weapons, so they'll actually like kill a 5 wound hero pretty reliably. So like little heroes have to stay away from them, right? Or they just get iced. So yeah. So that's the Skaven list. That's kind of like I said, the Tower of Power. But it still has a lot of tendrils to reach out. Like it has a strong center, but then lots of pieces to go move out if it wants. Okay. And I think it can pick up gold, and it can do I'd say it's pretty reliably going to get 20 of those 30 points out of that battle tactics. Pretty easy. And it can stretch toward 25 or 30. All right. Let's see. Brendan, this one's yours. This is the Stormcast Eternals list. We had a hell of a game 2 weeks ago with you running basically this against a Slaves to Darkness list that I'll talk about later. But yeah, talk about this thing.
I would love to claim this as something I wrote. This is from Dan Sasala, who is in the Midwest team for North American Masters, and he posted this and he talked about how he ran it, and I went, this sounds awesome. I need to put it on a table. And I think the principle behind it was really cool. So the list that he named it as was Recycling Stormdrake Guard. So you have your goal, right, is to use this very mobile, very portable hammer that is the Stormdrake Guard and get them into advantageous positions to pull your opponent apart without the opportunity of your opponent being able to go and get them. And you didn't remove a Stormdrake until like round
turn 4. Yeah.
Like it was a while.
So by the way, brought down by an exalted hero. Lone exalted hero who felled one of the great beasts, as they are prone to do. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so one of your methods to this is using the new artifact, the Beacon of Azir, I think is what it's called. The Beacon of Azir. Knight Vexilor has it. He's standing further back, picks the priest that's in front of him. He auto 7s, pulls him out. You have just the Stormstrike Paladors are really nice scouting force units. They're kind of fast. They're kind of tough. You're gonna lose one of these units. It's probably the Knight Relictor. To go down, get your rerolls to charge, get your strikes first off the charge, you know, Tornus is a method of keeping the Stormdrake Guard fresh. The banner has an opportunity to keep the dragons fresh. It all really just revolves around those dragons, honestly, and they're tough enough, they're big enough, they're damaging enough, and if you manage your prayer points correctly, like you can either get a bunch of extra attacks or you can pull them out of combat. This was a really cool list. I really enjoyed playing it. Stormdrake Guard aren't something that we saw, for the first year of this, a 4th edition, and I think they're potentially back in a really big way. This was a really cool idea from somebody who knows Stormcast super well.
Yeah, it just worked too. It felt like you had so much play across the board. Oh yeah, I might have accidentally cut off your tactics. What are your battle tactics you chose with this one? I'm sorry. They might have actually got cut off when I was fixing up the text.
Well, it would help if I had put them into the list. So I ran this with Intercept and Recover and Scouting Force, and I don't think that having played it, that's at least for my playstyle, the best way to do it. I think Intercept and Recover was very good. You have the ability to go out and get your gold. I don't know that I would do Scouting Force again. I would probably look to a Master the Paths type of tactic as my second one. The Scouting Force with the 4 units, I think, is what it amounted to, because the Vigilers want to be up in the sky. It was just too much, but again, maybe in the hands of someone who understands Stormcast better, maybe it's easier.
Yeah, I was really impressed by this list. It had so much play across the entire board. Like the fact that you always had like the teleports handy, the fact that you could just nail one when you absolutely needed to off of the beacon, right? The recall, right, of the basic unit was also obviously, of course, very valuable. Yeah, I mean, it was just like, even after you lost some stuff, right, it was still like I think you're right, because I managed to keep you off basically scoring more with the Scouting Force, because I just killed enough of your scouts that you fell below the threshold, right? That's the weakness with that one, obviously. But nonetheless, this was just like such a lock, just like such a I had like a very mobile spread board control army, and I felt like you were easily outmaneuvering me. Right. And that's really the statement to make, is that like it just feels like it can put pressure wherever it needed to, when it needed to, very effectively.
And I would imagine that the Stormdrake Guard in Lightning Echelon is a real threat, right? When they come in with strikes first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like they're a hammer.
Strike first on this thing. And it's not a game if I don't roll an 11-inch charge against Vince, and
every game,
they hit it, they get their rampage, they go another 2d6, and suddenly they're in a part of the board that they didn't belong in to begin with.
Right. Mm-hmm. And just wrecking, right?
Yeah. I love to see the Storm Coven in the list.
Yeah.
They're there.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I love seeing that. Because so I've put together a number of Stormcast lists, and I don't know why they don't get played more.
They're really good.
They're good.
They're the best non-hero hero in the game. Yeah.
Right.
You can spend the CP and get them back if you happen to have lost them. They're really good.
They're really good. Yeah, I agree.
Which I think that's actually the unit you did end up recalling, right? Because I killed the Soul Sworn, and I think you recalled 2 of them, right?
I recalled the Soul Sworn.
Oh, that's right.
The Storm Coven stuck around. The one Storm Coven guy was standing on that objective and had to fight one of your heroes.
Yes, I remember. We had the epic showdown there. Yes, yes, I remember now. Okay.
Along with that, the Soul Sworn are pretty banging for 200 points as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
18 solid wounds.
Both were really good in the game. Just I like everything about the list. And just as a side note, I love that Tornus is in here too. It's just such a gorgeous model, and it was sad to see him never show up in a list. I think he's actually really good here. So,
well, you murdered him right off the top. So
I did rip him off the table pretty quick. Yeah, but it's all right. Still a cool model to see. All right, now this is great. And obviously, you've got the way you were the way you could utilize and manipulate the portal as well with your other teleportations. It's just, again, it's so, I know I'm hammering it, but like, it's so mobile. It's so much more mobile than you think, right? That I think it just plays perfectly into the current season. Okay, cool. Tom, one of yours. Cruel Boys. This is a Cruel Boys list. You want to talk about this one? We got a little 4-drop Cruel Boys list.
Yeah, so this is a variant of what I actually ran at Trash Clash a couple months ago.
Oh my God,
but
that's so
it's
funny.
like
I missed a spot here.
for all hammers, right?
Mm-hmm,
So like as if
I'm just
I
cleaning
didn't
up
have
formatting.
enough,
Keep talking.
no, as if I didn't have enough hammers before. So this runs Kragnos as the general of the main unit, which runs the breaker boss on Meyer Brute Trogoth. He has the Meenan, which is the beast trait that gives +1 to hit. So it's the thing, the enhancement for monsters that kind of got carried over. So I'm a huge fan of him hitting on 3s on the Trogoth because he hurts a whole lot. And so the tactics here is pushing the meat into the center of the table. So pushing Kragnos, the 20 block, and the Meyer Brute towards the center. And so the battle tactics here are actually the attune to Giron and intercept and recover. So I was already functionally playing this way because coming into this is just a bad idea, right? Like it is like you have two very bad decisions. Either you come into all of this meat staring down a 2-up strikes last, right? Because oftentimes I'll save my dirty tricks. Or if you don't, you're going to have a 3d6 charge as it explodes out. And they come, and the main meat of the 20 boys, the Meyer Brute and Kragnos come in. And so it's actually like it's really made to do the retreat and all of that. Like when I saw that battle tactic, it was already the manner of play that I was running with that at the center. The difference being that I was now able to add the Killaboss on Corpse Ripa Vulcha, who
so good
like
with
because of all the points
So
decreases, like I added like 300 points to this list and dropped my pigs, right? Which was so I had just added just a metric crap ton of points to my list,
Right.
with all the changes. And so the Corpse Ripa is going to 3d6 charge, and he gets the ogre charge. So throw in half of all the dice and whatever your result is on a 4-up for mortals, and then he can retreat out. So he's a great with Slippery Scumbag. So he's a great tool, which again is another interesting retreat tool there. It has Bolt Boys for people who pop their head out, right? For threat as you kind of need. The Swamp Collar Shaman with the Swamp Staff is the best caster in the game.
Yeah, he's ridiculous for what he is. For 110, like the Grey Seer for a long time had been this sort of like held up as this exemplary caster. He's got nothing on the Shaman with Pokrot. Nothing.
He's a double caster that is regularly on +4 to cast.
So pretty
seems okay.
What? Yeah, +3 to
fine.
cast. Yeah,
it's fine.
Whatever.
He's just using old
double
world casting rules.
Yes, exactly. On +3 to cast. The other thing that I was able to do with this is add the Scourge of Giron Killaboss on Gnashtooth. He's also, so the funny thing is the old version of this list was running Trophy Finger, which is the crit 2 hits on companion weapons. And only my Meyer Brute was getting it. Because when he comes in, obviously, with that and a bunch of attacks, like 10 attacks, 3 damage attacks, he wrecks shop. But now I have multiple units that are actually picking that up with the Corpse Ripa Vulcha, and also the Great Gnashtooth, who can pick off and engage and skirmish along the edges. He adds some real mobility to the list that the army just didn't have otherwise. And so obviously it can, like, it's just hammers all the way down, right? It's meant to just get in and push and keep pushing and push some more. And like I regularly would retreat out with it as needed because I don't need all of my hammers in there. So I'll
Sure.
pull out hammers that are weakened or in bad positioning and bring in fresh stuff. And so it's actually made to do, like truly made to do the Attune to Giron step 2, which is generally the hardest.
Yeah,
of
the
those
retreat with 2, charge with 2. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And then Kragnos is just a monster, like him compared with like, and it's funny, a lot of people look at the Gut Rippas, but like, man, those units of Gut Rippas are just so hard to remove.
Oh, it's just a big pile
they
of
are
wounds.
It's just, well, not only is it a big pile of wounds, it's a big pile of wounds on often -1 to hit.
Yeah.
And often on like it's just there's so much there that even if you want to lay into them, you're not going to remove it in one turn. Right? Most of the time. So and then combine that with the utility of the what's it called? The lore, the spell lore, the Gorka Morka.
Lore of the Swamp and the manifestations of Gorka Morka.
There you go. Yes, the manifestations of Gorka Morka. Oh, and you have True Mystic Shield in this too for Kragnos. Which, because of course this is the army that gets True Mystic Shield in their lore. But the Gorka Morka, you're also getting generally oftentimes you have a shot at plus, you don't always get it, but you have plus, you can get up to +2 to charge. So you're 3d6ing plus up to +2 to charge from the spells for that, which can move the needle pretty dramatically on those charges. And then what's the other thing? Oh, and then the stomp is just this wonderful tool of like reducing charges so that you always have a chance of really messing up them coming in.
Sure. Yeah, you've done a little bit, Brendan. What do you think of this? You've done a little bit of Kruleboyz play here and there.
Yeah, the continued race to the bottom on points for this army is only good. You get so much in 2,000 points now. Like,
yeah,
this would have been a prime candidate for what did this army cost a year ago,
right?
And like this probably would have been like a 2,500 point army.
Yep.
Sure.
Like,
yep.
It's so techy. This is such a Tom way to play the game. Where I view more traditional Kruleboyz lists as having like the two big blocks of Gut Rippas, and they form kind of that central wall, and they push forward, and you've got stuff playing at the edges. This is such a unique and clever thing. The combo of Kragnos and the Corpse Ripper Vulture is a favorite of mine. I think that's just so much fun. Because I loved monster trucks with the
right. Like,
yeah.
The key here is that this actually takes one of the weaknesses of Kruleboyz is that they have low mobility. Like, surprisingly, they actually do have low mobility, and this largely solves that with Kragnos with the 3d6 truck. And so yeah, and then like you have no idea how hard it is to not just run like 18 Bolt Boys at their current cost.
Sure.
You say that like I don't think about those kinds of things, Tom.
Like, right, like it's very difficult to write a list in here, but this is an Oops All Monsters Kruleboyz list, and I think that it I think that it is like I've ran it, and I'm going to probably continue to run it here for the foreseeable, kind of a competitive event, because it's a very unusual puzzle to solve, and the things like the Monster Killers, which seemed like a throwaway unit, are really are not only from a battle tactics, but also like against like giant armies, it gives me a second strikes last when they come in.
Sure.
Like in a very real way that like is a real like problem when they get put up as a screen, and then you're coming in, and like you are very, very possibly could lose at least one giant before you fight, if not both of them.
Sure.
So without selling the company secrets, Tom, I imagine this is probably one of the lists or something similar as you're taking to NashCon. Like in your alt list, what are the things you're trying to shore up? Like if this is as strong as you feel that it is, is the alt list really just 18 Bolt Boys?
And bodies.
Bodies.
The answer, like just all the meat. just like 60 gut rippas, just like forcing them to make a real decision, even as they would be staring it down at NashCon, right? Where that's the other play style, which is just flooding it with ridiculously cheap points.
Sure.
And then, like for some armies, they're not going to have tools to deal with that much meat.
Right. It's 120 wounds in gut rippas for not a lot of points.
No.
Yeah.
For $4.
Yeah, indeed. Yes, by the way, the backstory of me fixing all this formatting it has to do with, we talked about it before the show. Tom sent me his list in Discord. It's fine. They were all formatted nicely. Tom wrote a very nice list. It was very clean on how it exported out of the Age of Sigmar app and went into Discord. Pulling it out of Discord and putting it into PowerPoint, though, it came in as one giant blob of text, and I could not paste it in any other way. Every single space was gone. So it's just literally like a string of text. Like I was reading ancient Hebrew. Right? Because isn't that the thing doesn't ancient Hebrew, it reads the other direction, but doesn't it also not have spaces?
Tom's on mute.
You're muted, Tom.
Hebrew have spacing, but it's actually the Greek that there's no gapping between letters.
Okay.
Like it's all uppercase and all, like there's no punctuation or anything.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So you have to like infer from context where the break is happening, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I take that back. Hebrew also has that problem. It's later Masoretic texts that would have had the gapping. So yeah, everybody has that problem.
Sure. I don't like spaces are a weird technology that like I guess we just invented at some point along the way. But anyways, yeah, fun. Okay, so that's how it came in. Yes, it was basically like ancient Greek or ancient Hebrew when it came in, which made it a real challenge to put in here. All right, next. Okay, S2D. So this is the Champions of Chaos list that I talked about on the show before. This thing is ridiculous fun. I switched around slightly, Brendan, since the last time we played. I made a couple of changes. I could still go some other directions with this, but this is kind of where I landed now, okay? So we've got the Demon Prince still had the thing up. Love them. General, Radiance, Wings, Corn Marked. Let's go. Maximal attacks with that giant high damage crit mortal weapon. Got an Exalted Hero and 6 Theridons in the regiment. Then we got a Sorcerer Lord who's bringing along the Myrmidon in the regiment. The Myrmidon will be, of course, partnering up with the Theridons as, one of your major hammers. Those two together are just incredibly good. Curses for them getting stuck on a stupid objective because I was dumb enough to walk on an objective in a game of Warhammer.
Yeah, mistake.
Yeah.
The game famously is about standing on anywhere but the circles.
Correct. That's right.
Circles are lava.
Circles are lava for your hammers, yes. Despite that, they still they gave a good fight of it, nonetheless. They're a very killy unit, Theridons, and they just have a lot of wounds. Then we've got a Chaos Lord on foot with an Exalted Hero of Chaos Buddy. Then we've got a Chaos Lord on Karkadrak, 10 Chaos Warriors. I switched this around. I got rid of the Chariots. I tried 2 Chariots before, but because I switched the tactics, I ditched the Chariots. So he's bringing the Centurion Marshal with him. Oh, that's right. The Centurion Marshal. That guy. That guy. I'm a big fan of that guy, by the way. That guy actually can do some work. And then 6 Chaos Furies. So that's kind of what those became. The Furies are just out there to like run chaff, be a board presence, do interesting things. And then you've got a Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount, also with an Exalted Hero of Chaos, who most importantly has the head of the unworthy, which is you're gonna call the initial RPG quest on the Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount. You're gonna get that guy killed. Yeah, just like that. Just go. Like that dude's gonna go do whatever he can. Go kill an enemy chaff unit. Just be in the enemy's face. Just like boldly striking forth to become a great hero of Khorne. If for some reason the thing lives, what a wonderful day for you. But what's more likely to happen is that guy is going to die, and then that Exalted Hero of Chaos instantly rips into a Demon Prince in your back line. And so then you get a spare Demon Prince. And paying 80 points for a Demon Prince, I'm not sure I still love the Demon Prince at 260, but I definitely love a Demon Prince at 80. You're muted again, Tom. I don't know why you keep muting yourself.
No, he's actually at 220
What's that?
because the Demon Prince cost you 220 because you lost both the Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount, and you traded that and the Exalted Hero for the Demon Prince.
I don't have to sacrifice the guy right away. Sure. I don't have to sacrifice the guy right away, right? The point is it's a piece that I don't care if it dies. I get this incredible refund on it, right?
Or the Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount turns into a Demon Prince himself.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like what's the downside here? I get a different Demon Prince who's in the middle of their lines. Like, okay. I love this list. You have little heroes running everywhere. The Exalted heroes will go absolute ham on enemy heroes and monsters because they go to like 7 attacks and they have anti-rend for both heroes and monsters.
And then the damage gets bumped up. There's
Yes.
7 attacks, 3s, rend 3, damage 3. It's extraordinary.
It's incredible for 80 points.
Yeah. The cool part when we played though is you had enough like little special like chaos hero guys on like 32 mils to actually play the list the way that it was supposed to be. Right. And you just had like all these like real fancy guys just walking around. It was awesome. This list is the best. It's so much fun.
I could not help like role playing during this game. Like I've never had a more like I'm in character army for this because I'm just like, yes, every time he'd fail a roll I'd be like, haha, of course your attacks mean nothing to the power of the dark gods. You know, just like I couldn't help myself.
This was a fun one, and this game went to like the very end too.
Oh yeah.
Which, like once we determined that we pretended that Vince didn't make the incredible mistake of standing on the objectives, you know, the way the game should have been played.
Yes.
Like just a nail biter. It was great. Yeah,
this is absolutely a great game. Came down to the bottom of 5, and I had to like back up and give away a double turn is basically what happened to unlock myself. So, and still with that, it was an absolutely amazing game. This was so fun. And yeah, just like I cannot explain this list unless you play it and really feel it. You have so many different things going so many different directions because every one of those heroes, yeah, they're like fragile, but they can do so much work if you just like are smart with your target choosing. And your Demon Princes and the Ogroids are both going to end up like actually being significant threats. The Ogroids are your like main hammer to just unlock anything. So just you kind of got to be aware with them, but that's fine. It's great. You could play around with this. Obviously right now it's at exactly 2000. But you could do little things with this all over the place. So like you could switch around with points, get a couple chariots in there. That's how I actually ran it originally. They're using Master the Paths, which is like kill the enemy and then more in neutral territory than enemy, and then be on the different corners, which is actually not that hard for you given the sheer number of ridiculous units you have. And then intercept and recover, which is just, go get gold. Sure. Like you're going to try to kill the enemy pretty aggressively with this thing. So there you go. And at 5 drops, you'll probably get the turn reroll to avoid the double turn. So that's nice. You got that going for you. Great fun. Would recommend. 10 out of 10. Incredibly hilarious and good time list. And it brings me back to my days of 5th edition Warhammer playing Hero Hammer with Chaos, and I love it. So, I mean, given they're not Chaos heroes that are like weapons, your base like Chaos Lord or whatever on foot, who is like weapon skill 8, strength 5, toughness 5, just this ridiculous monster. But they're pretty good. Okay. All right, Brendan, you're up. Night Haunt. That's right. Brendan brought the Night Haunt list this time.
So this was a 3-drop list revolving around the Black Coach subfaction, where infantry units that are wholly within 6 get the 5-up ward. So when you are choosing to be kind of castle-y with your coach, you've got that going for you, which is nice. You've got two designated hammers in your Bladegeist Revenants and your Dreadscythe Harridans. You're taking the Purple Sun lore because it doesn't affect you negatively at all. You've got Reikenor and your Guardian of Souls. Your Guardian of Souls is there to kind of keep your units replenished, and it's also what your Nexus of Grief is there for, your Black Coach is there for. You've got a kind of this like mini hammer in the form of the Lord Executioner with the Tombstone of the Penitent, because 13 attacks is good. Who would have guessed?
Sure.
Well, like,
also that dude just rules. He's so good. He's one of the best like foot heroes in the game for just his raw abilities.
Yeah, solid, good. The Cruciator is probably my like putting it on the table and playing it is probably going to be the thing that I would end up swapping out and changing to just something else to maybe free up the points for the +1 attack artifact that is the one that basically everyone else takes. But this is Scouting Force, Master of the Paths, your MSU. You've got a lot of speed. You're going to be kind of everywhere that you need to be. You're going to be hitting things the way that you want to be hitting them. You're going to have the spell lore that folks Leno Nagash is sad, you're right. You're going to be kind of just doing the things that you want to do. Nighthaunt aren't affected by all attack as with the negative context. You're going to be able to have your 5-up ward kind of wherever you want it, either in the form of the coach or in the form of doing the Discorporate. And I don't know, just Nighthaunt were good to start the edition, and I think Nighthaunt are going to once again be a bit of a terror here at the start of this handbook, because good gracious, whoever wrote the rules for Nexus of Grief monopolized all of the good terrain rules that are ever going to be written for pieces of terrain. Like, it teleports, it heals, it shuts off commands. What's not to love? That, like, unbelievable how good that piece of terrain is.
Yep. I will also say it's just really good at tactic denial too, against a good selection of enemy tactics. Like, this is actually really good at stopping intercept and recover, which is obviously going to be very popular, right? This is great at denying that, like, and so on and so on. And I think that like Nighthaunt stand very strong as usual on the denial side, like being able to deny your opponent potentially 2 to 3 battle tactics quite handily is just extremely meaningful over the course of like winning the game. So
even
you're strong in their
if you delay them,
right?
Like that's even worse. I mean, if you can do both, then you know you're definitely in the score 1, score 2, score a lot more category. But yeah,
absolutely.
Yay, Nighthaunt.
Yay, Nighthaunt. The ghosts are back. Tom, what do you think about this? You've also been a Nighthaunt player.
Yeah, like, it warms my heart that there's like diversity in this list.
Yeah, sure.
Like, yes, there are 3 units of Chain Rasps, yes, but like it's just not all the same units. Like, often with Nighthaunt, we've just seen these like spamming of like all the Blade Guys, right?
Sure.
Or like, pick your unit. You know, pick your season, pick your unit. It's what it's
Hex rates.
right, hex rates, right. And for me, this is a type of list that I would run, because it's a toolbox. It has lots of different options and the right units for the right job.
Agreed. Yeah, you can go ahead and not bring this anytime. That'll be great. I can just not play against this, and I've been so permanently scarred by playing against Nighthaunt at the start of the edition. It's just like go ahead.
In my defense, that was the first list I wrote.
Yeah.
We put it on the table, and I went, "This seems pretty good."
Yeah, like the first game we played of AoS 4, you came with the Nighthaunt list, and I was like running a Skaven list, and I was like, what is happening? Because I was like, if we did that like sort of weird comparison now, right? I was running like 1,400 points of stuff, probably 1,500 points, something like that. Yeah, it was a good time. It's a good time. All right, next up, Tom. Your Grand Alliance Order, Cities of Sigmar, within the Veteran Cannoneers. I think I did a better job on this one of splitting these up mostly.
So
I think I did an okay job.
Is like partially the list that I've always wanted, which is like the mixed humans cities list, like primarily humans. But let me walk through it. So I'm just going to start with Regiment 2, which is my Fusel Major Warhawk and the triple iron great cannons.
Yes.
Because they're monsters. Like running this, like I understand that lack of mobility is not good, and running gun line is not good in this season, and that's fine because this has some tricks in the bag, right?
Yeah, sure.
But
I mean, Sinestra's in this list, so you're not bad right off the gate. So you're good.
You've got at least one trick.
Yeah.
Right. One trick. And you know what? That may be all that it needs. Right. So basically each of these regiments are doing 3 different things. The cannon list is putting range. It's like going to camp a home objective, right? And put major pressure. And all the cannons are going to be at +1 to hit. And with the cannoneer, what was the benefit was
reroll 1 hit, 1 wound, 1 damage.
Yes.
Yep.
Right.
Per cannon.
So like
per cannon.
Everything's on 2s and 2s, right? Just down the line. And you're re-rolling. You're gonna put some major pressure. You're gonna lift some stuff, and they just can't hide from that 24-inch range.
Right. I mean, everybody's gonna start the turn by like on so many maps. It's important to say the reason we talk about obscuring so much is because where the rubber meets the road, there are a lot of maps where you start out in range of a place of power. Not every map, but a lot of map, about 2/3 of them. Okay.
Yep.
And if that's the case, and your enemy has any shooting at all, you are highly incentivized to go like start of the turn, activate the place of power, turn my objective I'm standing on into obscuring. Right. So like we're accounting for that in the breakdown. The key is if they're going to win the game, somebody's got to put their head out at some point, right?
Well,
like,
and not only that, like it doesn't block line of sight. Like let's say that you did that to the center objective. It's only
you're probably going to do it to your home one that you're standing on, but I understand what you mean. Yeah,
right. But even then, it's only things that fully fit within the disc that don't qualify. Right. And so like you're almost always and the things that you really want to like remove, like you have to remove, don't fit on there anyways.
Sure.
Right? Like Varangard or other, pick your things that have
you could fit 6 Varangard on there easy, but sure. I get what you're saying. Like plenty of monsters and things with fly can't. So you're shooting them all the time.
Right. So you're just going to lift stuff like that with the 24-inch range. And the numbers and the rerolls and all that stuff. The second is the weird unit. And this is like a cloud of Zenestra in the middle, oftentimes. Like, you can play it a couple different ways. I really had to fight. Originally, this was all steel helms. And then I went all flash.
Steel helms are 80 points.
I know.
Yikes.
I know. Right.
I mean,
20 wounds
so are
on
flagellants. They're both so cheap.
Right. On a 4-up, 5-up. But the key is that the flagellants near Zenestra are kicking back mortals on 4s. Right. And then with their prayer also on 6s. Right. So like originally it was 50 flagellants. So like if you want to come through, that's fine, but you're going to deal with 25 mortals on average.
Right. I mean, I have run into this sort of thing before, and there are certain lists that'll just like, well, okay, I guess I'll just die then. Right, because they just literally can't afford to fight you. They don't have the recursion or healing to actually fight you without just evaporating.
So the interesting trick here, though, is that because Zenestra grabs 3 units on the teleport, you can leave the cannons exposed and just teleport them to you anywhere in the board based on range.
Sure. Because
there's no limitation on that teleport. So it is the perfect extraction.
Such a dumb ability. It's so ridiculous.
Right. So like you can set her off center or whatever, right? Let the cannons do the home objective and then just pull them out back to 24-inch range if you need to. And keep shooting.
Right.
What you've really written here is, Tom, is a KO list, is what you've really written.
Right. Yes. I played against this. The dumb ship keeps floating backwards. The dumb guys in front of the dumb ship teleport like 15 inches on a redeploy. It's great.
Every list is Caradron Overlords.
Yes.
And those cannons actually, the funny thing here is that those cannons actually will do, like, they're not easy to remove with their, like, reducing Ren, like yes, concentrated damage, but the way that it's dispersed and stuff like that. Anyways,
your point is a little tiny scout unit that gets into them doesn't immediately remove them. Yeah, I understand.
Correct. And
if your Kislev horse archers get in there, it's not enough, guys. You got to do more than the Kislev horse archers. So
correct. And then the other major mobility is like I'm running Talia because I like her. Like I'm not saying that she's good, right? But I like her, and so I'm running her.
Sure.
So deal with it. And then the Free Guild Martial Cavalier and the Soggy Cavaliers, which are great on the grind because they can return on their strikes first.
Sure.
Because they can get treated as like having charged.
Yes,
So
they're
they can turn
effectively
on
one of
their-
your like they're effectively playing the role of a hammer here. Absolutely, and they're
Yeah.
good enough for that. For the in large
and
part.
well, and the draw steal ability can give them +1 attacks.
Yep.
Like the captain can turn on all of the abilities. He's also a priest, so it gives you a priest somewhere else out on the battlefield if you need it. And then the wielder, the hunters just do what hunters do.
Yeah, be chaff, be whatever you need them to be in that moment.
Be chaff, do a little bit of range threat. You don't need more range threat, but do a little bit here and there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You've got intercept and recover, so you're trying to get gold, and then master the path, so you're trying to kill a hero, and then be more friendly units in neutral territory than enemy units, and then obviously do the 9 inches of the corners, which is easy when you have a giant teleport thing.
Oftentimes, what would happen is that the flagellants and or the steel helms, right? Like the 2 reinforced blocks will be in the cloud, and then the extra 10 will be somewhere else that where they need to be, right? Sure. And then you combine that with the 2 units of Welder Core Hunters and their pregame move and stuff like that. It allows you to again be where you need to be.
Yep.
And then everything else is point and click.
Chris H asked do you miss not having a wizard?
I mean, no.
Yeah, I mean, magic is dumb.
No, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I like endless spells, but I also like 3 cannons.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, I've got magic. It's called gun. It's the best magic. You ever see wizards? Okay.
Yes. And yes, Pontifex is there for anti-magic. Right. Like if I wanted to, I could tinker around and I could get a wizard in here, right? Sure. But I just don't know. Like, maybe. But I don't know how much I'm actually gaining by that. Truly. Like, yes, some endless spells, depending on what I'm buying into. Ideally, it would be wonderful if I could get like a Hurricanum or if I could get a Luminarch, just to double down on the damage. But even then, yeah.
No, I get it. It's good. It's solid. I mean, I'm just happy to see Talia having a place, even if she's not like the most critical unit. I mean, obviously, the critical units here are your Regiment 1 and Regiment 2. And then, like, you've got your Cavaliers to go out there and do stuff. Talia just ends up being a problem solver piece because she actually has quite a lot of movement comparatively. Yeah.
Well, and like, she can travel with the Knights and give everybody Ward 5 in that pack. Right? Like, she can, like, Ward 5 +1 wound, right? Like, she can bubble that out to that group. Suddenly, so you have a mobile set of hammers that have some real problem solvers there, including like she has, because the tail, like, is it strikes last on monsters? Or
her rampage.
Yeah, her rampage. It's anti-monster. It might not be strikes last, but it is anti-monster.
Yes.
So I mean, there's just some interesting tools there in that trio of units that would travel together.
Agreed. Hey, thank you very much, Slipknot Brian. Very much appreciate the super chat. Just supporting the show. Well, hey, we're grateful for it. Thank you, brother. That's much appreciated. That's awesome. No, very fun. Dig it. I hope everybody can see it. I don't know if it's coming through, but I tried to pick cool pieces of art to set behind all of the lists, and then, like, they're like kind of faded and stuff. But this is one of my favorite Cities of Sigmar pieces of art. It's just like a really cool image. So the like guy with a shield and a kind of big explosion. Anywho. All right.
Cannons.
That's
all I'm saying.
They're back, baby. Brendan, back to you with the Sylvaneth, we're 4-drop outcasts list here. And surprise, surprise, who do we find at the head of this particular expeditionary force but our good friend Draika? Wow, how surprising. You went a different direction, I think. I think it's very unique. So talk to us about this one.
So the new Scourge of Gyran Draika combines with my pet unit in Sylvaneth, which is the Twist Weld. Yep. I love that War Scroll. I love it so much. To sit there, and when you play it correctly, very importantly, you make your opponent -D3 to charge, And then Drycha has this lovely reaction to tell your opponent, you've got a choice. You can either continue to eat this -2 to charge and take an additional D3, making this 3-inch charge maybe a 7, maybe an 8. Who knows? You just got to trip forward with an 8. Or, if you'd like to keep this charge at merely a 5, you can be -1 to hit, and I can be +1 to hit you. It's great. It's such a good combination. The Kurnoth Scythes are Vince's most favoritist unit in all of Warhammer.
Yes, definitely they're that. No doubt about it. Love them so much.
Vince's super favoritist unit.
Yes.
The new Scourge of Giran, Revenant Seekers, being able to hand out the 5-up ward, they are a great target for Drycha's spell for the +1 to wound, +1 attack. That's just a great target for that. The Branch Witch being able to sit there, hand out his strikes first. I brought Nakorn of the Ages to get another teleport base out. And then Spellsinger, obviously, for the bonuses to casting on the War Song. I'm a big believer in the War Song. I think it's a super great unit to have that kind of flexibility in a hero to put wards on your own units, to take wards off of enemy units. I think is a really powerful ability, especially in the kind of the modern version of Age of Sigmar. I then took the Regiment to Renown for Callus and Toll with the battle tactics of Attuned to Gyran. So Sacred Centrality goes kind of one of two ways with this list. It's either you're pinning down the middle objective with your Callus and Toll, or you're kind of forcing a funnel with like things like Drycha and the Scythes, or you put the Twist Weld, not necessarily on the middle, but near enough by where your opponent is really going to think twice about what it is that they're going to commit to that unit. Retreating and fighting, yeah, man, that sounds like a Sylvaneth thing to me. And then the other one is Master the Paths, right? Cut off the head and seize the paths as your first two are very doable. This army is particularly fast. As far as my sub-faction, I went Outcast here for the reducing control scores from your opponent. I was goofing around with like an oops all Tree Lords list as I was trying to write this, but I wanted to put that one on the table first before I sat down and said, hey folks, here's how it plays and here's how it works, and these are the kinds of things, because one of the things within Sylvaneth that I don't quite appreciate right now is how the new sub-faction with all the heroes teleports, how difficult that can be for your opponent with like the Lady of Vines and with the tree in the Manifestation War being additional spawn points that you can kind of get to. Sylvaneth is one of my favorite armies to play. It's an army that competitively, I think, that requires, like, to do well requires a lot of thinking and a lot of skillful play, and is always super rewarding when you get your wins. So I think this edition is a great edition for Sylvaneth, but I think it's going to take a lot of practice for those Sylvaneth players to find that high level of success, and I'm really excited to see some folks crack this book open.
I agree. They feel to me like they've got a pretty high skill floor in the current edition, but they have a really, really, really high skill ceiling for all the reasons you've talked about. It's funny because here's a little fun story. When Brendan ran sort of a, not this exact list, but kind of a version of this against me, and as like just a joke, fun thing to try out, you took instead of the acorn, which we talked about at the beginning of the fight, you were like, well, I should take the acorn, but I'm going to take this other silly artifact instead. So he took the one that where like when they cast. And you
renews Fury.
Yeah, you get to like you do the difference in wounds, but you have to like call your shot right beforehand. You have to be like, this is the one I'm going to use it on. So you have to just like hope you roll well. So it's just like a bad artifact, but he took it just for fun. First time he used it and called it, he rolled boxcars on the unbind, and I won like a 6 to cast off from me. I was like, what the hell? Just get plowed by this ridiculous artifact. So he lived the dream, and now you can just use the acorn from here on out. There you go.
Yeah. I still really like it as an artifact, particularly with the with the war song, because you do have that threat of like everybody's got that 5 wound hero, but not everybody's rolling with +2 to unbind.
Right.
And there will be games where you play like Tom, where it doesn't come up and it doesn't matter, but those cannons shot your army off anyways. So,
Yeah. It's a good answer to a lot of things here. 3 cannons, as a matter of fact. Like those Revenant Seekers are going to be a real popular early target, you flying bugs. That 5-up ward is going to go right on themselves real fast. That's for sure.
Yeah. I see in the chat I got asked if I think that the Lady of Vines is competitive. I don't know. I'm gonna try. It's another source of a 5-up ward in an army that loves ward saves. It's a point that you can teleport to. You can use the new sub faction to teleport her somewhere else, and then kind of chain summon yourself to different locations. I plan on trying her. And then Martin says Callison Toller 270. In my list I have it as 290. It's 290 in the app. I don't know. As the regiment's renowned, maybe they just cost more as the regiment as opposed to in the list.
Could be. Yeah, I don't know.
So
very good. No. Yes, I love it. I have famously, I hate Kurnoth hunters with scythes as much as Brendan hates my Giselles, who are always just like, my Giselles are just they've dialed in their rifles. They're good to go. They're good to go.
Spent a weekend playing as Giselles, thinking, my Giselles will do as well as Vince's Giselles, and my Giselles did not a thing for 2 days. As I sit there and I go,
you gotta have 30 years of practice with them. That's the key. That's all you gotta do. Real easy, so it's fine. It's no problem. Okay.
10,000 dice rolls.
Exactly. That's right. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's the Malcolm Gladwell theory here. There you go. Okay. All right. Now it's time for a guest list, everybody. We all get to react to this one. You ready? Okay. Here we go. Guest list time. There you go.
You're looking at the wrong one. I don't know what to tell you.
It has been there's the proof. We've all seen it. Okay, so this is from our good friend Dino, who is who is very much into the Soulblight. He's been playing them a whole bunch. Friend of the show. He's obviously asleep right now since it's like 4 a.m. where he is. But at any rate, he sent over this wonderful, fun Soulblight Gravelords list. Brendan, I thought you'd have a strong opinion on this one, as I know you also are a fan of Soulblight in the current incarnation. I guess what I'll say. Yeah. All right.
All right.
So, they're all right. They're okay. Bacchanal of Blood, using Master of the Paths and Scouting Force. Okay. So we've got the Lore of Undeath and the Manifestations of the Grave. We got old Princey V up top. He's the general, leading 10 Blood Knights, 5 Blood Knights, and 5 Barrow Knights in the regiment. So just a lot of hitting power there. Then we've got the Vampire Lord on Nightmare Steed with the Lash of the Sire to keep to move even more stuff around. Then we got 3 Vargeists and 3 Virkos Bloodborne, and then a Vampire Lord with the Terminus Clock. And then, of course, the terrain. For 1980 out of 2,000 points at 3 drops. Here's his explanation. The list wants to push forward and has the speed to do it. You're basically full of hammers with Vordraai, Velos, 10 plus 5 Blood Knights with 5 Barrow Knights, who I love close to Vordraai. There are 5 or 6 scouts, 3 or 4 of which have incredible movement capabilities that are extremely hard for your opponents to stop. Vordraai should be used as wave 1 with the Barrow Knights by his side, making your opponent have to decide where to focus fire. The 10 Knights are there to be your second wave, while the opponent is trying to take care of Big V. Meanwhile, 5 Knights with the aid of extra rend from the Lord on Steed can punch way over their cost, 16 attacks, 2s, -2, or -3 versus infantry, 2 damage, and he gives them rerolls on charges. Vargeist and Bloodborne are your rogue DPS with the same profile, crit 2 hits, 3s and 3s, rend 1, and damage 2. They're great for getting the +1 damage candy from Vordraai, and because of their extreme mobility, they can stay out of harm's way or hunt down enemy units, either for your battle tactics or stopping the opponents. It depends on what you're up against. Everything except skeletons in this list has +1 to wound on the charge, so 3s, 2s, or 2s, 2s aren't unusual. Basically, with strong attacks and extreme mobility, there's room to choose your battles. Spells like Strike First, Strike Last, -1 damage, and the Manifestations can help you debuff where required. Almost everything that's in the way of your opponent's punches is on a 3-up, 6-up. Recursion, Rally, Hunger, and Reliquary offer constant healing, which makes the lack of any 5+ less impactful. Vargeist have 4 wounds, so power through them out of enemies' reach if you can. Skill ceiling is equal to movement shenanigans. The list needs you to know the army, so the skill ceiling and floor are very high. Most importantly, and the reason why I like this list, how many extra out-of-turn moves can your opponent calculate? Vordrai moves 3 every combat phase. Vargeist teleport. Foot Vamplord teleports outside of 3 inches of enemy heroes on a 3-up. Bloodborne use a move ability at the end of the enemy turn. So, there you go. A lot of, Vamplord on Steed and Blood Knights can countercharge with full rerolls for 2 CP. Barrow Knights return models every end of turn in every hero phase, close to a hero, so their footprint gets bigger by, say, at least 2 models. And then blah, 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 blah. There's even more. Like, there's more. That's the point. So there you go. That's Dino's breakdown. What are your thoughts?
Dino and I had a long conversation about the Virkos, the inclusion of the Virkos Bloodborne. About, like, he's like, am I insane given the wounds for what these are? Right. But the full move action at the end of the enemy end of the enemy turn is just such a power tool.
Yeah,
right.
It's crazy
because, like, you can run.
Yeah. It's like 8 plus D6 right at the end of an enemy turn. Yeah, something like that.
Right. Yeah, you can retreat. Like, talk about countering. Like, it really is one of the ultimate, like, battle tactic countering tools.
Sure.
In the army.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I have more units in this around this than you do. No, you don't. Not anymore. So, not to mention the fact that you could be doing the same nonsense with, like, during the movement phase and resetting back stuff up too. So you're just like, you got multiple bites at the disruption apple. Again, I think another one where both it puts a lot of pressure on extreme high mobility, but it's also again another, like, Soulblight in my experience is another one of these armies that's just, like, so freaking good at denying battle tactics. Like, as an army, they're just so strong at delay and deny on enemy battle tactics. They just make it very hard. They make you respond to them, which often means they get to set the tempo, right? And, like, that's usually a way to win the game, frankly. If you're deciding how the enemy has to move and where and when, you're probably winning the game. Like, it's that easy. So, Brendan, what do you think about this? As the Lord of Death, you know.
And having recently gone 5-0 with Soulblight, the thing in the list that I don't understand is the choice of 5 Barrow Knights with no White Lord on Steed. I would probably just swap that right to Blood Knights right now, because otherwise you just end up reworking the whole list and suddenly it just becomes Death Rattle. I think if you're committing to this, I think you swap the Barrow Knights, because 5 Barrow Knights without the 5-up ward just disappear. Where 5 Blood Knights are a little more resilient. But yeah, speed kills, right? The Vargeist being able to kind of teleport wherever they like, I think that's really strong. I think the Vampire Lord teleporting where he wants is really strong. Vince, you've seen Vordrai become a pincushion sometimes, but when he makes contact, it becomes an extremely untenable situation for the target.
Yeah, if you don't have just, like, a massive shooting to point at his face and bring him down, he's just, like, he's very hard to stop.
You know what works really well for that, right?
3 cannon stop.
3 cannons.
3 cannons.
Yeah. That'll put some pressure on him, to say the least, yes.
Yes, if your opponent is the tactical genius who has the solution of destroy the enemy unit from a distance, then yeah, you can't go wrong. If your opponent has taken the Sun Tzu moments to write their Art of War, and it just says cannons.
Right.
Yeah.
Open the book, first page, close the book.
Cannons.
Got it.
Like, historically, cannons do pretty well.
Sure. Yeah, I think if Dino was here, I think what he would say with the 5 Barrow Knights is, because they're, like, such an ancillary threat, the enemy never actually can put enough into them to focus them down. So they always end up in skirmishes with, like, units that just aren't going to actually do the 15 damage or whatever. And so they can just sit there and regen against all the other minor hammers, and that lets him just pull weird shenanigans. So I think that's what
I think he's trying to force a decision when you go into Vordrai of are you going into Vordry or are you going into them?
Right.
Because if you don't go into them fully, then they will likely come back.
But yeah, I get it. Like the nice part about it is you could just as easily go with the 5 Blood Knights. It would fit. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's just easy peasy.
Yeah,
easy
I think the point is to have a unit in there from the beginning on the grind. Right? That actually grinds well, where the Blood Knights don't grind well, but the Barrow Knights do.
Well, as we all know, you got to get on your
I think
grind.
they grind the same. Like
Well, you're not putting bodies back on the vamps. The point is you can put models back on the Barrow Knights.
Sure, but they have to kill something.
Yeah. Sure.
Like,
yeah,
I think it go either direction. Yeah, and you're right. I mean, he even mentioned in there that you could do the swap, right? So yeah, he talked about it up there. So I agree. Very cool list though. I love it. I do love the Virkos Bloodborne in there. I just think they're really crazy. Like they're the secret tech for sure.
get your year's worth of them.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. That's right. Before they're gone. All right. Next up, Brendan, we're back to you with the Heat Knights of Slaanesh. Yes.
I'm almost disappointed that you didn't have a Heat Knights.
I did not make a Slaanesh list. He's like, "Do you want a Slaanesh list?" I was like, "I'm not making one. Go for it." I didn't do one.
Yeah, because this list lives in stark contrast to all of the Slaanesh lists that I end up playing against. So I never really get to see how any of this works. I am enthralled by the ceiling that Slaanesh has in this handbook. I think they've got a lot of really useful tools. I think they're probably right in that points range where they can do a lot of this. They're obviously very squishy, which is, not great. But you've got a couple of ways around that. And so in this list, I went Attuned to Gyran and Scouting Force. So bunch of cav, bunch of infantry, tough to go wrong. I took the Lord of Pain with the voice box. He's going to be paired with the Twin Souls. His job is to go stand in the middle of the board, make your opponents really sad that they made the decision to go be in that combat if they choose to.
Right.
All the meanwhile, you have your faster elements, your Blissbarb Seekers, your Slickblade Seekers pulling things off at the edge. The new Fiendbloods, I think, are really neat. I don't know that I'm building my list completely around them, but they're such a uniquely written war scroll where they can kind of toolbox their way out of the fellow prospectors that they're likely to get into. And then I just really like Glutos as a war scroll. One of my pet units that I'd like to put on the board at some point. And then I was talking with Mike Roush, very excellent player here from the Midwest, and he loves the Infernal and Rapturous. And I said, Mike, sell me on this unit. Sell me on this war scroll. He goes, well, it's 80 points or 90 points. And I go, great start.
Yeah,
Love
it's a good start. Absolutely, yeah.
An okay shooting attack for an 80-point unit, and the reaction on it, and I don't think I've ever read this war scroll in its current state of you can make your opponent re-roll a casting dice as a reaction.
Yeah.
That rules. That's so good. And you can do damage.
That's a nice fix you have there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure would be a shame if something were to happen to it.
Right.
So it's almost like having an extra unbind in the army. Right. And then obviously with Celebrity Warlord, you're using that to either get the Twin Souls back or more likely the Slickblade Seekers back to go out and do some work. Aetherot Machinery for the reroll charges, or for making Glutos even more difficult to deal with. Get the Pendulum out there to pin somebody in. Get the swords in there to take off some things with ward saves.
To be classically racist, as they always are, That's how the swords work. I didn't write the rules. It's just what they do. I know they're not like that anymore. But anyways, yes, no, I agree. This leads to a joke. Brendan, you and I were talking about this. Like, I can't wait to see Aetherot Machineries jump from like its 4% pick rate pre-GHB and the points on these things to like a 30% pick rate post the GHB because everybody just builds to 2000 and they're like, crap, I really don't like my own lore. Machineries, I guess. Sure, I can make my neg 1 hit and reroll charges is good. Let's do it, right? Like, I can't wait to see that happen left and right.
Well, and what 3 of the lists I wrote were Aether Rot,
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, Attuned to Giran, you start that one off strong. Scouting Force, you can start that off strong. You can finish, like, you legitimately have the opportunity to get all 6 of them,
Right.
depending on how the game goes, what your matchups are, where the missions are. I think probably a Celeste version of this list is probably better, where you work some more demons in there. But Glutos is my pet unit, and if you're looking to play some things that aren't necessarily like the biggest, baddest, best, meanest unit, I think he's a pretty interesting choice.
No, I think he's really strong. Like, he's just very hard to remove because of all the different tricks, especially as the game goes on. I think you have by the way, if people don't like the Fiend Bloods, because I think I'm still not sold on them, but the reality is it doesn't actually matter. You could just as easily swap them for like Hellstriders or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And it's like the same points. So, and that gives you yet another fast cav unit to run around and do your scouting force as well, right? So, I mean, it's not as though it's some great loss. So it's a very easy trade if you think, well, that doesn't actually work. Glutos just ends up being like a nice, strong center. And as you said, he's, especially with like an extra neg 1 to hit on him, he's just not going to die. At the same time, the Lord of Plane plus the Twin Souls, the one mortal unit I do really love is and always has been the Twin Souls. I think Twin Souls are like amazing, especially for doing Attuned to Gyron. Like, I just think it's a crazy good unit for that. Because people just don't understand, like, you're not going to kill them. Like, what's going to happen is you're going to go in there and just accomplish nothing, right? Because they're just going to sap attacks away, have a ward save, and then, like, they'll do okay damage back. Like, they're pretty decent in a grind, but especially with the Lord of Pain there, that only helps. It's not the point. The point is just, like, you tricked them into this fight, and now they're stuck there against a unit that maybe they win in the long run, maybe they lose, but it doesn't matter because you've just soaked up a bunch of their army into a fight they don't want to be in, while all your other high mobility units now get to basically free choose whatever target they want, right?
Yeah, you're trading up on whatever it is that they're committing to that. You're putting 380 points in that spot, and your opponent is going to need a lot more than 380 points to remove that unit, and they're that pair of units.
Completely
agree. And if you're backing it with Glutos, which is what Vince is seemingly saying as well, right? Like that, like if Glutos is bringing up the rear of whatever that core is,
he's not in the middle, but he's like in range for his buffs. Yeah.
Then you're just not going to be able to shift that.
Right.
Yeah, Brennan, I have to say I'm a huge fan of this. Like, if I was to run Slaanesh, this is where I would be. Like, I would want to be primarily mortals like this, and this has all the units that I would want to build out.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous list too, by the way. I mean, you're going to literally want to like Thelma and Louise yourself into the Grand Canyon after you build your 3rd unit of these Blissbarb Seekers or Slick Blades, which are like maybe the most annoying unit I've ever built in the history of Warhammer.
That's why I'm paying someone to do these for me.
Right answer. Like, I wouldn't mind this at all. Like, painting them is actually really fun. They're a beautiful paint. They're very fun to paint. All these units are actually very fun to paint. They're just a nightmare to put together. So, like, yeah, if you could have a friend who really loves building, put these all together for you, total win.
Funny story. We had a friend give me his Slaanesh, so that works out well for me because a bunch of it is built already.
Solid. Yeah, I mean, obviously the reason I didn't write Slaanesh is because this is like, I think this is absolutely a great list in the current meta for all the reasons that we talked about. Again, just like it's super mobility, it has the right, like we talked about high mobility shooting. This has a bunch of that. It has good traps to pull people in and then get them caught where they don't want to be, all that kind of stuff. And but this is like quite literally the opposite of the list I want to write, like, because I like the demon heavy version of Slaanesh, and that just really kind of sucks right now, unfortunately. So,
well, there's an opening with the new Celeste rules,
Yes.
where you can do half and half, and
That's right.
I think that's really strong. I think that's something that I know of at least two really strong players are pursuing builds around that and working with it.
I agree. New Celeste is good. If you don't mind the 50-50 split, I think Celeste is incredible. Yeah. It doesn't have
but
50-50.
100% demons I think is in a tough spot.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like Halo to a point with this army, right? Because he's like, I mean, I have other armies, so I'm happy enough. I got like multiple armies that I love running in this edition. But like, Mister, he only runs monster trucks, right? He doesn't want to run the guys on foot. And it's like, well, I don't know what to tell you, man. I guess enjoy your 1 to 2 wins, and like and Halo would be like, yeah, I'm fine with that. He doesn't care. He just likes running his toys, right? He's a big boy. He's an adult. Okay. Very good. What do we got next? What are next? Oh, it's the Fire Slayers list. Okay, sure, why not? Fire Slayers, Tom. This is you again.
Yeah, so I think that you're going to begin to see that I really do like 3 centers of power, like in everything that I
Sure.
end up building. Like normally, like it is kind of like one of my mantras of, and oftentimes with my 3 centers of power, it's like 1 backfield center, 1 like stable center, and 1 mobile center.
Sure.
This is an exception, right? Like this army is an exception because essentially the centers are, um, you have 2 pairs of Magmadroths that are going to run together. One is going to be a father and a son. One is going to be a Rune Smiter and a son. The father and the son is going to run the helm. For the prayer, you're running the lore that is the Magmadroth lore. And so you're going to have the Rune Smiter with the there he has a prayer with a +1 to hit and +2 or a high prayer is +2 attacks. And so what you're actually doing is like you're putting that on the sun, and then the other one is running the Magfather is running the Droth helm with the hard to kill traits and buffing the other son with the +1 to hit. And so you have
That's right.
2
Shadling, the Father,
killy...
the Son, and the Holy Smiter. There you go. Absolutely.
Indeed. And then also the other son.
And the other son too, yeah.
Yeah. And so those are your 2 like advanced. When you have to, you can push all 4 together, right? Like all
Sure.
4 could go up together if you needed to really like put into something. Otherwise, they split up well into 2 pairs of 2. High mobility, high hit, like high hittiness. And then for the backfield, you have your Rune Master guarded by your Hearthguard Berserker and your your Grimwrath guarding the Rune Master with the Hearthguard Berserkers with broadaxes. So you have that little unit of like weird high ward save, hard to killiness, super punchy. And the Rune Master has Ashbeard, so he is going to be getting +1, so he's a double prayer with +1 on those prayers, and he's going to get your invocations out. So you have like the super mobily like monster eater one, and then you also have the shooty one, right? So you're using like so he's providing some artillery for shooting in the back.
Yeah.
And then the 2 Flameseeker units are wherever you need them to be.
Nice. Here's my quick question for you, Tom. You didn't include it. So what are your 2 battle tactic choices with this
Yeah,
one?
I mentioned it in the thing. So it was Intercept and Recover and Master of the Paths.
Gotcha.
Intercept and Recover because the Magmadroths have enough mobility, right? That they can
just go out and get gold. Yeah.
Go out and get gold, right? And then Master of the Paths because you're going to have units, at least 4, out in the middle killing stuff. Often a hero is going to be in the line of fire out there as well. Then because your other like small dude units, whatever they're called, the Flame Seekers are out there pushing up or grabbing, moving on to off objectives and stuff like that. Like they'll often be doing what you need them to do.
Okay.
So I really think as an aside, I really think that the Warcry units, they've carved out a wonderful space of them being like great one-offs that don't need to be reinforced. Like from a
Sure.
balance standpoint, like I am often, if I'm wanting a one-off foot unit, but I know that I'm not gonna have enough to reinforce it. Like oftentimes the Warcry units are just the perfect unit where they have a little bit more hittiness, a little bit more durability than the other units, but they're all often in that like weird in between spot for points. And
Right
I
on.
find that with almost all the lists I've built.
Nice. Bishop said I've ran a similar list to this with the same Droth configuration. He said the Smiter Droth isn't worth it. Just take another Sog Sun Droth.
Done. Yeah, I hear that.
Fair enough.
I like the bonuses, but I understand the critique.
Sure. Right on. Well, I'm
Um,
glad to see Fire Slayers have some kind of play. And this list doesn't bother me as much. As long as we're not going back to the days of like me having to plow through some ungodly number of Hearthguard Berserkers, then which I'm fine. That's okay.
well, and I would say, and the reason why I do this is because this is what I have.
Sure. All right. Okay. So I got a quick Iron Jaws list for you. This will be fast. I think Iron Jaws are kind of in a really rough spot here. I just want to say that. I just really don't think they're, even with their new stuff, I don't think they're playing very well into this. But I tried my best to just see what it would be like to build one of these. So this is an Iron Jaws list in Brute Fist. That's the new sub-faction that gives you the double Mighty Destroyers. Okay.
If the keywords worked, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to assume it works correctly. Yes. Correct. It doesn't actually function right now, but I'm going with what they clearly meant when they wrote the words, but yes, you're correct. You are correct. Let me get to that in a second there, Chalupa. Let's talk about it. We'll get there. So it's intercept and recover, get the gold, and wrathful cycles, which is like go kill stuff, right? I mean, it's basically like it's the two go kill stuff things. Okay. And so like half your friendly units have to fight. I'm like, that's fine. I want everybody in this list fighting all the time, so we can get there. So it's Gordrak who can get the +1 to hit. It's or hand out the +1 to hit, you know what I mean? 3 soggy gruntas. Those end up being either chaff or things to just go out and chase people down because they actually hit hard, sort of by the standards of this, but I don't want to reinforce them. I'm not willing to throw that much good money after bad. 10 brutes as a strong center within and 20 Ard boys with Zogrok to apply mortal wounds wherever you want. The mega boss on foot, and then the Ard boy big boss. The only thing I couldn't fit in here that I didn't find a way that I might I might switch around
War Chant.
is no, I don't I don't care about War Chanters. No, is the new what's his name?
The weird boys, the +1 to hit.
Yeah, the +1 to hit weird boys. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
you could upgrade the Gore Gruntas to a big pig, and then turn the other pigs into those weird boys if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's right. And so I'm still playing around with it. Like this is what I'm going to try. I'll keep messing with the list. This one's a little more experimental. I haven't put it on the table yet. But I just feel like Iron Jaws are still like way too expensive for what I'm getting out of them. They're very slow. The double Mighty Destroyer is like very tactically powerful. So like I think on the close battle plans, it'll be very strong, right? So like in other words, if the main action is happening within the center square, okay, of like those points, I think this will do very well. If you're on the ones where that spread farther, you're in a rough spot. Like that's my simple summation of this one. Yeah, thank you. The Rekka's shading is what I was trying to get in there. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, there you go. Notification. Well, hey, I appreciate you listening to Fireball the Gazebo all the same time. That's right. The Vince universe. We got a lot of stuff going out there. So that's one. But then that's just a little fun list. Here's the list I really want to talk about. It's my last list. All right, here we go. I like I said, I didn't intend to have 2 in a row. Just that's how it worked out. Here we go. So, Brandon, I think you're going to be excited by this one. Okay.
Can't wait.
All right.
So excited.
This is my. I've played like kind of a little bit of a version of this against you, but I didn't really have it dialed in. This is my new dialed in version of this list. Okay. So this is called the nah, you'll never catch me ever list. Okay. All mobility all the time. All right. So what we've got here is we've got a Grey Seer as the general with 4 Doomflayers to just be like a punchy hammer unit, because Doomflayers will just straight blow something up if they go into it. They are crazy damaging. You gotta have something that you can just like drive forward. They also react really, really well to 3 claw steps. Okay, like Doomflayers are amazing with 3 claw steps because they'll just fly out of there. Then you got 10 Night Runners. Then you got 10 Night Runners, and then you got a Claw Lord on foot. Then you got the Vermin Lord Deceiver with Scurry Away, so he can leave. He can just walk out of combat, right? And the Warpstone Charm, so if he wants to stay, he can murder whatever he's fighting. Then you got another Claw Lord. You got a Doom Wheel. You got 10 Acolyte Globadiers. These are interesting things that just sit around the edges. The Acolyte Globadiers do an absolute ton of damage, and we'll get there in a second of how this works. Then you got Critic Foulblade, who brought along his own personal Deathmaster. Then you got another Deathmaster with 10 Night Runners. Then you got another Deathmaster. All at 1980 for 5 drops. Now, why is this cool? This is cool because Kritok lets you double 3 claw steps. Okay. So you can, when you 3 claw steps, you can do it to 2 units. One of them has to be Verminous. Okay, so which would be him and the 2 Claw Lords, which is fine. Okay, like that's okay, because I'm using the Claw Lords to like block up and be in the way, and then just go do things and then run away. Okay, like they're just out there and they're constantly just scooting out of the way. So like you'll pick the Claw Lord and the Doomflayers or something, who will then just wheel out of the distance. Okay. Then when the enemy moves, you then redeploy 3 units. And all of the Deathmasters and the Night Runners redeploy a minimum of 4 inches. Okay. So if you need to, like, you can take one of those Deathmasters. He can be like anywhere, and he could 3 claw steps and move back 7 inches, and then be picked as one of the 2 targets for redeploy, or one of the 3 targets for redeploy, and then move another 4 inches minimum. So like at the start of their enemy turn, he's moved 11 inches somewhere. Just somewhere. Okay. And all the Deathmasters, remember, only hit on 5s. So they're just great to like go into something that doesn't have an absolute metric ton of attacks. So like if it's some kind of low number of attacks thing, they're great to just go in and tie it up, because, you know, if you got like a low number of attacks that are relying more on high damage or something, chances are he's just not taking the hits. Like that's what it comes down to, because all attacks on a 1 through 4 fail against him. So this is just an absolute ton of different things spreading out all over the board. You still got your Grey Seer. You've still got the Manifestations of Doom, though you're going to actually play around more with the Warp Lightning and the Rat Swarm here with this one than you are with the Bell. You don't need the Bell as much. And yeah, obviously you're doing Scouting Force and Attuned, because you can just like put 2 things in the center, and who cares when they come to you? You're just like, bye. You just leave. You're like a million miles away.
You'll claw steps ahead at the start of their hero.
You're just gone. You're just not
like you're
like,
never
I was in the middle
on
on your turn. I'm not even anywhere near that now. I'm like back in the back of the board. Okay. So you're just all over the place. Like you have no less than 5 units moving in the enemy turn. And that's not counting an off-turn Skitter Leap teleport. Okay. So there you go. That's just like an insane amount of enemy turn movement.
Plus you've got the Vermin Lord Deceiver
yes.
Shenanigans.
Yep.
There's 6 unit, 7th unit.
That's right.
I can imagine that your opponent is going to be like, let me just play my turn.
No, my turn is your turn. Yes, like the ceiling on this is something like 7 units moving in their turn. Yeah.
You're engaging in turn communism, Vince.
we gotta redistribute the turns out to everybody. There's too much. Okay? We're gonna spread it out. These millionaires and the billionaires and the turns, they're taking too much. We're gonna redistribute the turns. Yeah, so I love this list. Like, this is what I've been playing around with, and I finally like got it to a place where I think this is like testable between the new points and everything. So I just think it's hilarious. It has so many weird things going on that I just yeah. By the way, there's actually quite a lot of this is the sneaky part of this. There's actually quite a lot of shooting in this list. It doesn't read like it, but there is actually a lot of shooting in this list. So the 3 units of Night Runners are putting out 61 shots with crit auto wound. The Doom Wheel is shooting, and the Acolyte Globadiers are all shooting. Yeah, okay. So like it's oh, and all the Deathmasters have a shot as well. So like it's actually quite a lot of like just sort of incidental shooting damage that that's gonna come out. So like that will catch people off guard. You actually can pick at them quite a bit. Yeah, Gracie or Mau Mau. Exactly. Yes. You mean our movement phase, comrade? Absolutely, that's right. So at any rate, it's yeah, this is just like this is everything that I love in a goofy list. Like Tom, you remember the cities list that I built a long time ago where it was like everything was just flying around at like insane distance all the time. This is kind of my Skaven take of that in the new edition, right?
Yeah, sure.
So yeah. Why a Doom Wheel? Why not 2 more Doom Flares? Simple, because the Doom Wheel is silly and I can't stop myself. I like it. I like it. It's just fun. It actually is like pretty reliably insane to 3 claw steps as well, because it moves like really far. So it will just, again, it's another one of those units that will just like 3 claw steps 14 inches in the enemy movement phase without, or hero phase, sorry, without trying. So just actually a really good target for that. So there you go. That's the list. I'll get a game with this at some point. So
make sure to pack some shooting.
Yeah, exactly. No, my one weakness. I
mean, it's like, my only weakness. How could you have known?
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna be coming into that obscuring. That's for sure.
And so, you know what might be a good solution to this, right?
3 cannons.
3 cannons.
Yeah, well, suck it. Your cannons only hit my Deathmasters on a 5. Eat it. I don't care if your number says 2. It says 5 over here, baby.
That's like, what the rerolls for. We're good to go.
That's right. You better use them rerolls. That's right. Because my little boys are like Neo from the Matrix. We're just cannonballs going right over the top.
I'll just send flagellants into them.
Oh, we're shooting. Those 60 shots are going straight at 6-up save flagellants. Believe you me. That's how we pick those guys off. That I'm not scared of. No, we're not getting into that melee. No. No. So at any rate, there you go. That's my last list. So I'm excited for it. I think it's a list that could sort of only work in this edition, right? Because otherwise, like in the past edition, like pre-GH or this GHB, sorry. In the past GHB, this list is garbage. It does nothing. It just does nothing. But in this one, I think it's got real play. So there you go.
Yeah. Last handbook, you just enter the kill box and just die.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end. And congratulations.
But not here. So anyways, all right, gentlemen. Anything we want to leave this on? Any final thoughts on list building?
I think the new missions and the new tactics, and then the further incentive of the higher regiments has really driven a more interesting set of list building in this General's Handbook relative to the last one. And even with the context of at the end of a handbook, it is relatively stale as to what the armies are, because they're all pretty figured out by that moment in time.
Right.
In the first 3 months of 4th Ed, I want to say probably 80% of the indexes and books were figured out, and roughly 1,500 points, if not more, of everybody's competitive lists within that battle tome were fundamentally the same.
Agreed.
And again, yes, the returns are early, but seeing just how absolutely wild some of these initial lists are, where I went, oh wow, I wouldn't have thought that could do something. Let me look at those war scrolls again. Let me see, kind of what the thought process is on this, and it's opened it up. Matt and team have done a really good job of making it so that more war scrolls over time have been useful in lists, and I think this is the handbook where a lot of that proves to be true. Like in the Sylvaneth Battle Tome, I don't think there's a genuinely bad war scroll. There are some that are less effective than others, but at what point in the game could you have said that about any book?
Right.
Like ever.
Right. No, I agree. The combination of the new GHB, the soggy rules, the new battle plans, right? Obviously part of that GHB, but like the way that they wrote them, especially going wider, stuff like that, and then the battle tactics change, has really made list building like actually interesting again. That's my summary right there. It's like really interesting to build lists with a lot of the armies. Yeah, I rested at Waffle House. That's right. Yeah. So what you're saying is run 4 Mega Gargants. Well, there is one loser in this current world. Not everybody gets to be a winner, and they the loser. They the big loser. But they'll have their ups and downs for now. Yeah, exactly. It's okay. It'll come back around for the Giants. It's just a matter
Win
of
some,
time.
you lose some.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, next handbook, the whole thing will be the exact opposite, is my money. Instead of really wide boards, every mission is going to be 2 objectives that basically touch
Just
each
center
other.
mass, yeah. The Giants just walk up, sit down, and be like, "We win this game."
You're penalized from being far away from it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, Tom, any final thoughts before we call it a night?
Nope. I think that there's just a lot of interesting opportunities, is what I would say. With list building and with playing, like the designers did an excellent job of creating incentives that weren't just punch them up in the middle.
I agree. Well, Rob, don't worry, buddy. You got like 12 lists here for 12 different armies we talked about. So just find one you like and copy it. No issue. There you go. Then you don't have to build anything. Easy. You're set, brother. You're set. All right. Hey, everyone. Listen, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to check out everything we talked about. All that stuff will be linked down in the description. Don't forget to check out the newest episode of Fireball, the Gazebo, our RPG podcast, and Snarlcast, Uncle Adam and I's Indie Wargame podcast. Both are also linked down there. If you want to support the show, thank you to everybody who super chatted already, but you can do that by just hitting like and subscribe and that kind of stuff. It's awesome, and we've been very much appreciated. You can check out the new games down there that Uncle Adam and I made, like Rain and Iron, our newest game that's out. You can hit the affiliate links. You can pick up some merch. You can do the Patreon thing. There's all sorts of things. It's fun. Look at all that stuff you can do. And we really appreciate it. You'll feel so good about yourself after doing literally any of those things, I'm sure. Brendan, thank you so much for being here tonight, brother. Very good. I'll see you this weekend.
Yeah. Find out what war crimes I committed on Wednesday next week.
That's right. Yes, exactly. My therapy session. All right. Thank you everybody so much for watching. We really appreciate it. As always, we'll see you next Wednesday.